You're watching The Alex Simmons Show, presented by Chick-Fil-A.
The American Athletic Conference is a meat grinder. We hear all about league play, plus an interview with Alana Eaton, today on The Alex Simmons Show.
The game is on.
The Alex Simmons Show is presented by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And by Simmons Bank, the official sponsor of women's athletics.
Little more than halfway through the conference, and the Memphis women are so competitive and getting better every game. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Woloshin.
And I'm Tyler Springs. A couple of breaks starting to go the Tigers' way, Dave. Let's see the highlights.
Memphis hosting Florida Atlantic, and head coach Jennifer Sullivan, a Memphis alumna, and the Tigers would be ready. Tanya Welch gets the start, drops in an elbow J. She had 6. And off the bench, Alana Eaton is dialed in. She had 12 coming from range. And yet her efforts got overshadowed by this woman, a new figure for the Tigers, fifth-year senior Liz Martino. The mid-year transfer from Omaha caught fire from 3, helping the Tigers run away late. Martino was 2 years removed from hitting her last 3-ball at Jackson State. It did not matter. She had this week's outstanding performance with 15 points, all from range. No such thing as a heat check when the basket looks as big as a Valentine's bouquet. And when you're in luck, you tend to stay in it. Dee Dee Hageman going to make her own luck right here. The steal, the hustle, and the opportunity for, yes, a 4-point play. Come and take me. Take me by the hand. Hageman does, and the Tigers take the victory 73-60. It's their 4th conference win. All have come on Saturdays. But the midweek contest would be tougher, a rematch against North Texas. Tigers came out gunning in this one, led by 11 in the first quarter and hit 5 threes in the first half. Unfortunately, the reverse was true in the second half as North Texas poured in back-to-back 30-point quarters in a runaway. Mean Green gets the season sweep at 97-57. The Tigers would finish winless in the Lone Star State as they dropped their Saturday contest at UTSA as well.
Coach, the last time we talked, you were starting conference play. It was about 8 games ago. You've gone 3-5 in that stretch, but so much fight, so many close games, and I think development of players. Tamaya Smith has looked really good of late. Gilmore's looked pretty good, much better. And all of a sudden, Liz has become a real factor maybe in all of this. Your thoughts?
I think with some of those players, obviously Tamaya and Bailey, they're young. They're both freshmen. So the more experience they could get in games, the better. I think they were in a stretch where they weren't quite ready yet. So pushing them in practice was super important. And then all of a sudden they're playing some quality minutes in some really big situations in games. Bringing Liz was something that, I wanted to do mid-year. I felt like if we were going to bring somebody in, which we were in dire need of bodies at the time, I wanted to bring in somebody who I thought could be effective, who was the best available at the time. And Liz happened to be that person. She's done a great job of just waiting her turn, learning the system. And again, when her number was called, she was ready.
There have been some games, like I'm thinking of the Temple game, where you subbed out almost 60% of your lineup first half versus second half. And you talk about the growth of those younger players. Regardless of what they're doing on the floor, are you seeing them start to come to you more often and have more questions about, okay, what am I doing? What do I need to do better? Has it taken a little bit of time for them to realize, oh, this is a two-way. I don't have to just listen and do. I can also ask and do faster.
Especially, I would say especially from Bailey. She's a very inquisitive, just human being. So she's come to me, just some one-on-one conversations, just wanting to know how she can get better, how she can play more, what she needs to do to make that happen. And a lot of hers is just earning trust in practice. But I definitely think, with their position coaches, now it's kind of a fast track just because of our number situation, but they're on their fast track to learning and getting more and more playing time as we move forward.
If we go back at the Rice game, that one was a tough game, but then you play the best team in the league in Texas San Antonio, and that's a 2-point game with a crazy ending.
Yeah, and something we talk about as a team and a program is just discipline in all aspects. We can't get ourselves in that situation. Number one, I think it always starts from from the beginning. One of our themes here lately has been you never know which play is the winning play. So try to make every play the right play. And I think that UTSA game was a game where, our undisciplined behavior showed. And, unfortunately it lost us a game, but I think we can learn from it.
Individually speaking, you've got a lot of kids who are at the top of a lot of different categories in your conference. I'm curious, I think the case for Alasia Smith going forward being the Defensive Player of the Year is fairly clear right now, but what are you most proud of her for doing on the defensive end?
She's a versatile player and she does everything for us, and she knows that's her job, that's her role, that's her expectation, and it's not going to change. She's a player who has I think she's had multiple games where she's had to play 40 minutes. So she's constantly pushing through, even with some, lingering injuries and things like that. She's pushing through for the team. I think she's a player who understands what we're working for and not necessarily focusing on the right now.
So you mentioned injuries. That's part of the theme of this whole year. We know Hannah is gone. She's had the surgery. Walking around fantastic, by the way. But what about Destiny Jackson and her status, and Fillmore and her status for the rest of the year?
Well, unfortunately, they both had to have operations, so they'll be out for the season as well. That kind of causes some other players to have to play some extended minutes and some other players to get more experience in some games. But, it's unfortunate we lost those players because I felt like going into the season, those three players, Hannah, Destiny, and Quinn, they were going to be huge parts of our success. But now they're just kind of sideline coaches at the moment.
In their absence, speaking to one of the other players who has grown, I feel like we've seen a lot from Tanya Welch, not necessarily every game consistently, but there have certainly been a lot of big flashes and pops. Do you feel like she might be in line for most improved player or something like that?
I definitely do. When you look at her not playing at all last season to what she's done in our program, actually in our pregame talk not too long ago, I talked to the team about what it means to have a player like Tan, whether it's in the starting lineup, whether it's coming off the bench. She's a three-level player defensively. She on the ball defense. She's quick, she's fast. She's just a dangerous player to have on your team, and I'm grateful that she's on our team.
In the 3 wins you had, Tulane, East Carolina, and then FAU, what went right? I mean, the Liz thing with those threes out of nowhere at FAU was pretty amazing, but what was, if there is a barometer that you got out of those 3 wins?
I think we took care of the ball much better in those 3 wins. Our defense was where it needed to be, our scouting report defense. We followed the scout really, really well. And I think we were just efficient. When you look at our numbers, I think right now in those 3 games, we may be in the mid-40s shooting from the 3 and the 2. So we were just taking really good shots from the right players.
There have been times this year where you guys have fallen behind and have had to really work your way back to get into a game. Do you feel like your team is starting to come around to getting started more quickly and with more efficiency?
Yeah, I think, because we've gotten in so many of those situations where I think one game it was 18-9 after the first quarter. And we've gotten into those situations enough that we realize that first quarter is important. That third quarter is important because that's also been a quarter that's been our Achilles heel. So making sure we're coming out with the right energy is important, with the right focus is important so that we don't get in those situations.
Up next, an emotional look at the up and down career of a shooter. It's Alana Eaton when we come back.
You're watching The Alex Simmons Show, presented by Chick-Fil-A.
Helena, Arkansas, the hometown of Alana Eaton. Not that far from Memphis, but it feels like light years away. Alana's taken the scenic route to get to the Tigers, going through Arkansas and Ole Miss before finally arriving in Alex Simmons' program. Do you remember the first time you had a ball in your hand? And was it automatic? Was it magnetic to you? Or were there other things you tried out before you fell in love with basketball?
I've played other sports. Like I've played every sport you could think of growing up, but originally it's always been basketball. Since I've known myself, I've been playing basketball. So like 3 or 4 years old, it just came natural to me. My parents played, my brother played. So it was a natural thing for me.
Did you have a little like Fisher-Price hoop at that age?
Yeah, I did. My daddy stuck it to like this garage shed that he had built, and like I would shoot on it. It was a lot taller than what I was, but he ended up helping me shoot.
Do you remember what the first championship trophy you won was? Like, was it like a Pee-wee trophy? Or
It was.
Okay.
It was. I was playing this little Boys and Girls Club league. No, I take it back. I was playing in a school league for my elementary school, and we would play in the league every year. You would pick your own teams and things of that sort, and I made it my mission. That was my mission every year, to win that tournament, because I was the only girl of the tournament. I was playing against all boys, and they were like, I was in maybe 4th grade, they were 6th graders. They're obviously already stronger than me. So I would just shoot the ball. I would win that tournament every year. That was my goal.
So when did you find out that not only you liked it, but you were good and people thought you were good?
I've always had confidence, but I never really just sat and thought back like I'm pretty good at this. I mean, I want to say I had my first offer in 8th grade, and I still was just like I knew I could play, but I didn't know how good I was or how good people thought I was. I was just playing because I loved the sport. So I never really even paid attention to that aspect of it.
When you get the offer from Arkansas and you decide to commit, I'm curious, is that fulfilling? At that point, what was a lifelong dream for you? Did you grow up a Hogs fan? Did you grow up thinking it was something else?
If I want to be honest, I grew up completely ignorant to the fact of college. Like, I want to say when I was younger, like seeing people like Candace Parker playing for Tennessee, the way I thought about it growing up, like you grow up, you get grown, and you pick whatever college you want to go to, and you just get to play. Like I never thought about getting offers and all of that until it actually happened. So no, Arkansas was never my dream school. I never really had a dream school. I just wanted to be a part of something. I wanted to go somewhere where people wanted me to be.
You go into that freshman season at Arkansas, and almost from the jump, you're dealing with injuries in your college career. How does that affect you, not just physically, but also from a mental standpoint of what your expectations become?
It took a extreme toll on me. It's something I'm still not fully over today. Like, I'm still trying to work through getting over the, just accepting what it was and what has happened in my life and where my life has gone and what journey has taken me. Just trying to be still grateful for where I am and trying to let go, I guess, of the regret of things. So yeah, tearing my ACL when I first got to college for the second time on the same knee was extremely tough for me, and it honestly only got rougher from there.
In light of that, have you found moments, later in your career where you've seen, okay, I can't do maybe what I once could do, but I'm grateful for where I am?
My best memories as far as basketball has come from Memphis. Before then, my best memories were the teammates, the people that I got to know, and just trying to not drown mentally, just trying to stay above water. I was just trying to survive. I wasn't the best.
So here, you've been able to get comfortable. Why is that? Is it people? Are you just mature enough where now you feel like you're finding your spots, quote unquote, more often?
I would give a lot of credit to the entire coaching staff, from Coach Alex to Bree arriving here. It just feels like a family unit, and it's something that I've always wanted to be a part of. That felt genuine. It feels a lot more genuine here than it felt at any other place. And honestly, as I'm getting older and, I am getting more mature, I'm just starting to accept life for what it is and just trying to figure out how I could be better as a person and just learn from it.
For you, away from the court, we've talked about two things in the conversations that we've had, and one of them is your love of fishing. I know that goes back a long way. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think people see a parallel between fishing and shooting. They're not necessarily the same thing,
yeah.
but where does your love of fishing come from?
I used to fish with my uncle. He's around from the Conway area. Back when I was little, I've always fished with him. And it's just something that I enjoy doing. We would fish, we would catch the fish, and he would clean them and we would eat it. It's like, I can't explain it. I feel like I worked for my food that day. Yeah. I caught that, and it's just something I enjoy. It's also peaceful, and some days you might not get as many bites, and it can also teach you patience.
Is there anything else you would tell people about what it's like being in this particular program in Memphis?
Our record does not reflect, how hard our coaches work or how good our coaches really are. I feel like that it's just been unfortunate. We've been hit with a lot of blows this year. We lost a lot of people that we thought we would have that would have helped us with the team. So it's been an unfortunate thing going on, but honestly, we've all still stayed connected and been together through the roughest times, and I pray that it, towards the end, as we approach the end, that it works out for us in the tournament, and this can be the best Cinderella story ever.
I guess I call Alana Eaton Deadeye. I mean, she's fun to watch. Her form is so nice. How did your relationship with the former Ole Miss player begin?
Yeah, I've known Alana since she was in 7th or 8th grade. Just from recruiting her at Ole Miss and keeping up with her throughout her college years, high school years and college years. She's a player who, I see a lot of me in her just from she's dealt with a lot of injuries and continue to play, continue to push through. So I've known her and her family for a very long time. And when she decided to go in the portal from Ole Miss, for me, it was a no-brainer because I knew what she could bring to this team.
She was pretty emotional about how important it's been to have this season kind of on the back end of her career where she can actually feel comfortable and have moments where she's thriving. What have you done to create that for her?
When we recruited her, it was more so, I told her it was more so about building her confidence back up than it was, teaching her the X's and O's of basketball, because she's already a smart basketball player. So we just continue to build and build and build her mindset, her mentality, her confidence, and giving her freedom was huge. And I think in our system, because we play such a fast pace, we like to shoot threes, playing on all 3 levels, I think that fits her. And her not questioning herself and trusting herself was huge. And just her development when she got here.
Conference play is ending, but there's still a few opportunities left for the Tigers. We'll hear about that around the corner.
You're watching The Alex Simmons Show, presented by Chick-Fil-A. Let's take a look at the AutoZone road ahead.
Down the stretch we come and into the tournament, and it sure looks to me like anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah, I think it's a story of last year for this year where, you going into the tournament, you don't really know who can win or who's going to go where. He's going to go until the last day where we know our seeding. Gives us a great tournament atmosphere. Just the unknown is kind of exciting as we move forward throughout the rest of our season.
Do you see hunger from your team with teams like Tulsa, UAB, teams you're going to have a second chance at coming up on the schedule?
I do. I think, as we watch film on our last game, our players are seeing, we're not that same team. And so I think because we've kind of on the way to turning the corner, which is where we need to be right now, I think as we go into our second round of games, the mindset will be a little bit different.
That was tonight's AutoZone Road Ahead. AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination and official sponsor of Tiger Athletics. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
I can't wait for that postseason tournament, which, by the way, will be the last one in Dickies Arena. Back with a wrap in just a minute.
You're watching The Alex Simmons Show, presented by Chick-Fil-A.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you after the season with our season wrap-up show.
The Alex Simmons Show is presented by Chick-Fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And by Simmons Bank, the official sponsor of women's athletics.
The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the University of Memphis Sports Network. This copyrighted telecast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by the University of Memphis. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the expressed written consent of the University of Memphis and Learfield.